All right, Zane, you're from London?
From London, yeah.
That's what's up, man. So he's in Florida right now. Headlines Barbershop, about to get a cut. What you getting done, bro?
We're gonna go with the mid fade.
Okay.
Faded into the beard.
So fade it into the beard. So when you say a mid fade,
I've got a picture if you want.
yeah, show me a picture. That will help.
This is actually my first time in a barbershop for 2 years.
What?
Yeah, I've been cutting myself, so.
Oh, you've been cutting yourself?
That's the kind of.
Okay, all right. So definitely drops in the back.
Yeah.
All right, that works. So how long has it been since you've been in shop?
2 years.
2 years. Okay,
2
cool.
years, yeah. Keeping the length, but chopping quite a bit off at the front. Not too much.
Okay.
Just so that there's texture that so it can like.
Okay. You want it to be still at
Just
the
at the
eyebrows?
eyebrows, yeah.
Okay. So still at the eyebrows.
Yeah.
So basically same cut you got, just freshen it up, give you a mid fade.
Yeah.
That drops in the back. What made you start cutting your own hair, bro?
Obviously, the COVID pandemic started.
Okay.
And I've always been interested in hair and whatnot. Literally, I think 3 or 4 days after lockdown started, I ordered the clippers from Amazon.
Oh, that was like
£20.
I can't believe how many barbers were born because of the
It was
pandemic.
like the perfect opportunity.
What'd you do? Start watching YouTube and?
Yeah, so I'd been watching YouTube for a bit before, so that was like the best opportunity. Started cutting my dad, my brother, cutting myself, and then after I think 2 months, started inviting friends around, started cutting them, and then yeah, it's just kind of growing from there.
That's dope, man. And so is it something you want to do career-wise?
Yeah, man. So I finished school last year. From I think August the 15th, I'm off to barber school.
Nice.
Gonna get qualification and whatnot.
Your pops is definitely supportive. So just so you guys know, full context here, I did not see this appointment. I almost didn't make it to this appointment. I had to like cancel some meetings and stuff today because I was in the office all day today.
Thank you.
But your dad, he gets on the phone with me and he's like, he's trying to make it work out. So he's definitely supportive. Does he cut hair at all?
He doesn't cut hair, no. He's very supportive of it, which is the best thing.
I'm gonna start off with clip over comb, just to kind of get the shape that I want, or at least debulk it so I can hurry up and get into the fading side of it. And so we want to keep this as dark as possible but still keep the shape that we want. And essentially what I want to do here is make the comb flat and keep it squared, but then as I get to the bottom here, I want to get it down to about a 1.5. And then after we do this, when we cut the top, we'll do some block graduation and we'll get the length that he wants in the fringe area. Here you gotta be a little bit careful, guys, because here his occipital bone, you can tell kind of it protrudes a lot. So if you get a little too tight in here, you're gonna make this way too light. And you're gonna lose that gradient, that contrast that you want to keep. This is a tough haircut to do on yourself.
The first time I did it, I went straight up the whole way with a 0 by accident. I forgot to put the guard on. It's taken a long while to get used to cutting it.
When you were going to barbershops, did you feel like barbers struggled with your hair?
I think they just used to cut it too short. They used to make it very round.
Gotcha.
So then it used to literally like match the shape of my head. It used to be like kind of like egg shapes.
Yeah, as you've been learning and stuff through YouTube, a lot of barbers, they ignore the head shape a lot.
100%, yeah. I think a lot of people don't notice the difference between like the best haircuts and then...
Oh yeah, from good to great, right?
Yeah.
The difference between good and great.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so right now I'm using a 1.5 to blend into all of the clip over comb work that we just did. And it should blend right in. You're trying to avoid creating any lines here. I'm just trying to create a solid foundation. And as you get higher, you can put less pressure. You can start lifting up. You guys can see I'm just lifting up, like clip over comb. All right guys, so I opened it up just to give me a little bit more of an insurance, right? Because when it's closed, you might cut it too tight. But by opening a little bit, you get a little bit more of a safety net here. Still light pressure as I get into the bulk here. But now, essentially, we're fading from bald to a 1.5. Oh, he's an amazing barber in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna spend probably
from the affiliate group.
3 years we had the #1 beach in the country. Yeah, the beaches here are completely different than like California beaches, for example. All right, you guys, so the bulk of the work is done now. We're gonna go ahead and start doing the actual fade, make it blurry, guys. He likes that fade to drop a little bit here, so we're gonna keep this line a little bit lower. That way we have a little bit of space here to create that gradient. Do you want the C cup to pop or? Yeah? All right, so he wants the C cup to pop, so I'm not gonna go all the way through. And we want the same distance from this guideline and this baseline all the way through. I'm gonna keep this bottom hairs here because that allows me to see contrast between the fade a little bit better as you go. Now we have a good starting point. We can go ahead and go through our system. Blade open and then one open. So I'm gonna put these guidelines in and then I'm gonna fade down from these guidelines.
I think till next Sunday.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And we haven't seen him for COVID baby.
Oh, wow. All right, at this point, guys, we are at our one open, and we want to do our best not to create another line. Remember, we used about a 1.5 guard in this area. So we want to do our best to just kind of allow it to fade right in without raising this fade too much. And he wants that strong, prominent C cup, so I'm going to dip this down a bit here to try to keep this whole area as dark as possible. Same thing all the way through here, guys. Kind of want to do this step by step so you guys can get a grasp of what we're doing. Just faded right into the work we did previously. Do the number one close, you're debulking a bit and you're making it easier for that 1.5 guard to fade in. But if you trust your technique and you feel like you can fade, you can skip the 1 guard, I mean, go for it. And it almost looks like I might not have to use that half guard. Yeah. Alright guys, I'm using the half guard now. It's all the way open just to play it safe. Obviously this is the first time I cut his hair, so I just want to make sure, taking the extra precautions, the extra steps to not mess up his haircut. Might be my first and only shot. So I gotta make sure this thing is clean. Especially his first cut in 2 years. Huge position in my investing, but
that's what my dad says as well. He says just stay in it for the long term. It's all a bit new.
Right now it's 11.50. No. I said when they dropped right? They retail for 150.
yeah, those are. We can go in with clipper close, or you could fade down. So we made this line with clipper close, so you can go probably one notch open and start to go ahead and start fading this out. So if you're afraid to bring the fade up, then I would recommend just go all the way open and fade down. And I think that's what I'm gonna do since I've only cut his hair. This is the first time I cut his hair. I'm gonna go clipper all the way open and then fade down instead. Alright guys, so now I'm closing it up some. Okay, I'm about halfway closed. Now I'm about quarter of the way closed. And now I'm all the way closed. And here it grows a different direction as well. You know what I mean? So the other side I feel like is a piece of cake, is easy, but this side is definitely tougher. Alright guys, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this side without explaining it much.
I went to that tournament that was this past week.
Huh?
Did they pay for their own expense or put it together? Oh my God, bro.
Yeah.
He's only 23 guys. If he gets convicted of that, it's already the same as like the NFL players now.
Alright guys, so that part of the fade is done. What we have left is the trimmer and the shaver. But since we're already here, we can go ahead and start fading in the beard and then go to the trimmers and stuff. What's the longest length that you want on your beard?
2.
Oh, number 2? Yeah. Alright, debulk the beard and then we can start fading in. So when I start with the beard, I always start right here since we're gonna fade anyways. This is so I can see how his beard hair reacts to a number 2. Because if it reacts pretty tightly where it's light here, I don't want to bring that number 2 into there because it already looks like a number 2. So notice I'm using the corners and I'm trying to just target this island right here. I got my 1.5 guard now. I'm gonna focus in this area because he wants most of the fading here. And the 1.5 is so close to a 2, it's not gonna really show much gradient. We're gonna go 1 open now. So from here above is where it really starts to lighten up a bit. Now we'll go to our half guard. So now we're all the way open. Focus in this area. Okay, close it up some. Just go a little bit higher than that. Now we're all the way closed. Blade all the way open, guys. Now we can start closing it up. Now we're almost all the way closed, guys. All the way closed now. Let's go ahead and ball them out real quick. Now you're gonna really see the fade come together because this is the lightest point. Since we have the trimmer in our hands already, I'm gonna go ahead and start to ball them out, guys. Super important here, guys. Use the shaver. If you notice, I use a single foil because it's a tight area. Last thing I want to do is create a line. Starting where we want the fade to finish. Remember I talked about lightening this up. So let me lighten that up a bit.
Drop like it did last time. Remember how it fell 30%?
All right, next one's that half guard. Now it's light in this area, so I don't want to fade this out at all. I'm working around it. You guys can see, blade all the way open. Now we'll start to close it up some. Now it's all the way closed. So I'm not going to line him up right now, but what I am going to do is go ahead and start to cut the top. Now what we'll do, again, in the middle here, just make sure everything kind of connects. And again, even with this, you don't want to create too much tension because you might cut and connect it and then it bounces up and now you have a disconnection there, right? So you want it to flow nicely. This is the type of gap that I'm talking about here. So notice there's like a line here, there's a line here. So that's like a little bit of a gap here that doesn't transition nicely. That's where we're trying to connect together. So hopefully you guys see the difference now. Now we can go ahead and start to cut the top here. You could just start right at the top of the hair, and all we're doing is focusing on this section right here, from here to here. So we can take horizontal section. Doesn't have to be super clean. We're just cutting straight across. If the length up front really matters a bunch to you, you might want to start in the front. You're not cutting the hair longer than here, right? Because that's part of his fringe length. You guys can see that little corner right there. That's kind of the length that you want to take away. You want to kind of flatten this out. There's a little bit of a corner here. You want to kind of flatten that out a bit more. You can start taking some horizontal sections here and bevel these corners a little bit as well. Put a little bit of product, brush it down, and then let it air dry. That's what I'm using, guys. Oh, snap. Indestructible clay.
What's that?
Go ahead and start lining him up. And I'm going to make sure that it kind of flows into his fringe without cutting his eyebrow off. We're trying to have a balance of keeping it natural, but also we want it to pop. So I'm putting my first initial line there and start to walk it over. The back line here, natural with his neckline here. Sometimes you gotta get a little bit cosmetic so that it complements your client. First time in an American barbershop too?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So not just his first haircut in 2 years. It's his first haircut in an American barbershop. You feel like it's different at all?
Yeah, I think it is. I like the vibe.
The vibe? Yeah.
He say he like the vibe? Yeah. Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up.
What would you say most shops are like in London?
I think it depends where you go, but it's quite quiet a lot of the time.
Oh, really? But I'm sure there's shops in London that are like this, just not as common.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And walk the beard up. I may just line up the middle here. That way I have something to connect to here in the middle. You got a beard I wish I could have.
Yeah, bro, you make me hot. Cool, bro. I was gonna ask you what's up, talking. Was there a lot of people there? Remember that's what we was talking about, Martha, right?
I'll figure it out as I go.
Hey, nobody want to do this change. It's gonna give us experience, bro. It's the same thing.
Just to break it up a bit, soften it up a bit.
You say only, you can't put only.
I can do it.
So this is before the enhancements. You know, some people are like, oh, even though I watched the entire haircut from start to beginning, why are you hiding the cut with enhancements? Show before the color and after. Like, bro, you guys watched the whole process of the haircut. This is before the color, now we're gonna add some color.
Trying to get rid of this. It's a little curly. No, like it was like yeah, when you got your first haircut, you just like this is more like